Hey, it's Amber, and welcome to Season 3 of Politics But Make It Fashion. Come chat with me. Hello, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. I would like to send some love and stress-free vibes to all my moms out there and everyone who is celebrating Mother's Day today. So I hope you guys are having a great day and enjoying yourself. We also are on our 60th episode for Politics But Make It Fashion. Come chat with me. Yay! Congratulations to us. We made it. So today I am coming to you doing nothing. I don't plan on doing anything, and I'm doing nothing. So that is how my wonderful Mother's Day is going. My daughter did wake me up with breakfast in bed, a bowl of Trix and almond milk. It was perfect. My stomach has not been happy for the past few days, so it didn't end well, but you know what? It's the thought that counts. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of speaking at Women Are Power Mother's Day brunch, and that was put on by Giving Back to the Community organization. They are such an amazing organization that is women-led, and they do so much for the community. And you know, they're also really great at just wanting to work with everybody and wanting to work with the groups that are already there. Sometimes in community organization stuff, it can be a little, childish. But I really do love the organizations that really want to help form a community with the organizations that are also around them and that are already there, because it takes a village and we all need each other. So I was not here last week, guys, because your girl was on vacation. So let me tell y'all about this. Once we got back from vacation, our cruise ship drug a 44-foot endangered species whale into the Brooklyn Harbor. Insane. Like, that is so crazy. My mom sent me this article and I didn't really look at it, because I was exhausted from coming back and stuff. And then I'm looking and I'm like, there's a whale we're on a boat. And it's so crazy. And yeah, it died. So I don't know if we hit it, or whatever happened to it, but may it rest in peace. And yeah, somebody's probably going to get fired or fined. But we drug it all the way into the harbor with us on the bow of the ship, which was absolutely insane. So we have some tragic things that I guess were occurring on this side of the world while I was enjoying life. Tyson Food decided to dump a whole bunch of poison and their nasty, gross food stuff into a bunch of different waterways. So Tyson Foods, one of the world's leading meat producers, allegedly dumped an alarming volume of pollutants into America's rivers, lakes, and endangered ecosystems. And then on top of emptying them into endangered ecosystems, this process is now also endangering ecosystems, wildlife, and potentially human health. So this happened from 2018 till 2022. Tyson was responsible for releasing millions of pounds of toxic substances into the environment. There was a special probe that found some 371 million pounds of contaminants, including nitrogen, phosphorus, chloride, oil, and cyanide. That's what? So all those things have been injected into waterways from 41 different Tyson facilities. So, it wasn't just one facility. I don't know if they were doing, some type of timed all-hands facility cleanse of their poison. But it basically happened in 17 states, notably impacting Nebraska, Illinois, and Missouri. And this happened from 41 different facilities. So it's crazy. Tyson is a really big pollutant and a terrible company. So they give us poisonous food. They don't care about us. And the treatment of the animals at their meat processing plant is absolutely disgusting and atrocious. And like I said, they're poisoning us. So, and they are also crushing small time farmers and farms. I mean, and by crushing, I want maybe already crushed, because they've gone out of their way to just, run all these little farms that were selling chickens and stuff, mom and pops, out of business and take over, and so they have these huge, like, thousands of acres factories and facilities that are just polluting our planet. And it's inhumane, and I don't even just mean that in kind of like a vegan sense of it all, but it's just, they're animals and they're living in filth, and they can't even, their chickens can't even walk because their breast, like, meat is so big. They're like ankle, leg deep in poop that they're trudging around in these facilities. And it's crazy, and animals aren't supposed to live like that. They have little animal feelings too. And I'm sure that nobody wants to walk around with poop up to their knees. And I feel like you're probably going to be sick. And then you have poop to your knees. And then, where they're putting the chicken through the processing facility in the plant. And then we're getting it and, and we're eating it, which is great. So yeah, that's what's happening to, Tyson. So right now we're seeing kind of the fallout from the assault on Rafah. More than 34,780 people have been killed in Gaza, according to the territory's Hamas-run health ministry. Israel has continued to bomb Rafah and the rest of Gaza Strip in Palestine. Palestinians remain trapped following the seizure of the vital Rafah crossing on the border of Egypt. So some of you might know that during the whole, kind of before this whole assault thing happened, they banned Al Jazeera TV station, which is, was something that was telling the truth about what is happening and what is going on. So over the time of this assault, there was airstrikes, there was a ground invasion as well. And, they told people to evacuate, which would almost be funny if, like, everybody wasn't dying, that they dropped a bunch of flyers down and said, hey, evacuate. But, like, this is where they told people to evacuate to. So where were these people supposed to go? They didn't have anywhere to go. There's nowhere to go. They couldn't get out of the border across Egypt. So they're basically trapped, and you just drop bombs on people trapped in a very small space with a lot of people and a lot of kids. So yeah, fuck you. That's how I feel about that. And, we're watching it every single day. And I know that there's this big discourse between things like watching the Met Gala here in the United States, and at the same time, they're dropping bombs and killing thousands and thousands and thousands of Palestinians. And it is true. And it's not like I think everything is a distraction. I think that life is just happening all at once. But I genuinely think that they truly believe we're not going to do anything, and that the world doesn't care, and that they're just going to get away with it, because they have been. President Biden, kind of finally seems to start putting his foot down when it comes to Netanyahu. But we have the Speaker of the House in the U.S. here, who now wants to try to impeach Biden because Biden stopped a shipment of weapons and things to Israel. And so, kind of pausing the support of Israel. And the Speaker of the House wants him to be impeached for that. Hey, buddy, we're in America. You should support America. Okay? How about that? And maybe we don't want to use our bombs to kill Palestinians. And that's actually what he said. So, while that's happening, we have floods that are going on in Kenya. 257 people have been killed and almost 300,000 people have been displaced in 31 of Kenya's 47 counties. This is a combination of seasonal weather, crazy weather phenomenon, and man-made climate change. So people are upset about the government response. So the government, this is what they decided to do. Most of the Kenyans affected by the floods live in informal settlements. There's one in Nairobi that's the most popular, and it has about 30,000 people in it. Well, those people's homes were demolished by the government as part of their plan to evacuate people at risk. So back when I said that people felt like the government response was terrible, yeah, because they went in and demolished 30,000 people's houses before the floods happened. So I don't understand how that was to help, but hours after the storm, while there's no power, people are finding bodies, authorities are demolishing people's houses and other people's houses who have gone through the flood, who are currently going through the flood. They're destroying everybody's stuff. And I believe that they ended up giving each family $75 to help them through this tragic time in their lives. The Kenyan government warned people that it would forcefully evacuate anyone living in settlements along the swollen riverbanks and overflowing dams. The demolition of the makeshift houses began before the deadline. So they gave people 48 hours to move, which doesn't really make sense. Or they were going to come in and demolish their house. But they went in and demolished houses anyway before the deadline was even up. So the government says that these homes are illegal and illegally constructed and are at high risk of being in a flood zone, which, yes, that kind of makes sense. But at the end of the day, if people are going through some crazy weather event, right, and now where are they going to go? Where are they going to live? They don't have anywhere to go, anywhere to live. They don't have any things. I just feel like that is, I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense. So I hope that the government in Kenya starts to make some better decisions and that the people, I feel so bad for them with the flooding and I think it's still going on. And, yeah, well, and there's also flooding, I believe, happening in Brazil as well. So there's so many different crazy weather things happening all around the world right now at the same time. I did speak about on my social media account, Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who was 23 years old, and he was killed by a police officer. This was the same county that had the Acorn incident. I spoke about it on a podcast where Acorn fell in a police car and the police stopped, drop, and rolled, okay, and then emptied his whole clip out into the back of a police car with somebody in the police car handcuffed. Luckily, that man is okay, and all of that happened because of an acorn. Because an acorn fell. This same police department shot this senior airman at his home, in his house. A woman called 911 alleging that she heard an argument. So they responded to a domestic disturbance call. Senior Airman Roger Fortson was home alone in his off-base house. He wasn't causing any trouble. He was FaceTiming a woman they believed to be his girlfriend when an Oskaloosa County Sheriff's Department, responding to the wrong address for a disturbance, broke into his house and fatally shot him. This is according to the attorneys. So you can see on the FaceTime video that police knocked on a door. He called out. Nobody answered. Then the police knocked on a door again. He allegedly grabbed his gun and went to open the door. The police did at one point identify themselves. There was no response back from him to whether he heard that or if anything like that. I don't know. Florida is an open carry state. He legally owned his gun. He's allowed to have it there. You're allowed to hold it. There was no time for him to react. He didn't lift up his arm. He didn't point his gun at anybody. Like, the officer literally shot him just within seconds. The footage shows Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who appears to be holding a firearm at his side, pointed towards the floor. He opened the door of Unit 1401 as the deputy tells him to step back. After he opens the door, the deputy shouts, "Step back," and then immediately just shoots him. After shooting him repeatedly, he yells at Fortson to drop the gun multiple times. Fortson, already on the ground, replies, "I don't have it. It's over there." And, you know, of course, the officer is saying that he was scared for his life, which is the default answer that you can say before you kill a Black person. So I'm going to keep you guys updated on that story, and it's really, really sad. And I come from a military family. I was in the Navy. My brother is currently in the Air Force. And, you know, anytime I keep seeing that his picture flash across my screen, you know, through news things or whatever, I think I'm seeing my brother's face. And it's really traumatizing. And the killing of Black people by police officers is traumatizing to our whole community as well. And, you know, there's a discourse where people don't want to share the videos. They don't want to see Black people being killed. And I know that we all want to see the evidence and share it with everybody, but just how traumatizing that whole situation can be, because that, you know, this is what people like us look like. You know, that looks like my brother in his uniform. You know, that looks like his Air Force picture, you know, that they have. And it's just really tragic, and we need to start holding not just the police officers accountable, but I truly believe that we have to start holding the people accountable who are calling 911 on people for no reason, for just existing and being Black. You know, if you're calling 911 on somebody and you're saying there's a domestic disturbance going on, and there's one person home and they're not doing anything, and it's quiet when the police get there, there needs to be repercussions when that person ends up dying, because that's not okay. I'll never forget this video of a woman who called the police on this Arab man, and he was wearing a thobe, and she told them basically he was a terrorist and had like bombs, and they responded. He was trying to check into a hotel. The police responded with like the SWAT team and everything, and it was super serious. And then the lady now wants to say, "Oh no, I never said that. I didn't." And he played the 911 phone call for her. And this police officer was so mad. And he was like, "You could have gotten people killed today because of what you did. That's not okay." And he wanted to arrest her, because you can't just do that. What happens if they would have came in and shot that man? Like, there's something needs to happen for that. You can't be lying. You can't just call 911 on people just for being Black and existing because you don't like it. I don't care if you don't like it. That's your problem. But 911 isn't your like little racist hotline. You know, so we are going to take a short break, and I will be right back. Welcome back. So I wanted to share something that I found super interesting with you guys. When I did watch the Met Gala, and I was live talking about it on social media, because it's one of the biggest days of fashion of the year, and I love it. And they raise a lot of money for the Metropolitan Museum, and I love a good museum. But they were talking about pockets of women's clothing, and as a woman, I know I have complained many a times about the lack of pockets in clothing for women. And I know that a lot of my friends have too. Well, I found out that there's actually kind of a history behind women not having pockets. So there was kind of no pockets, and then women would use little like pouches to carry things around. Think of like a little pouch to carry like dice or crystals or something. Like, they were called like tie-on pockets and different things like that. But there was kind of always the assumption that was made by clothing designers who were male, that the lack of independence and responsibilities that restricted them to the home led many designers to assume that women did not need pockets. Men carried all the money, the documents, the keys. Therefore, they were awarded with more functionality in their apparel. Around the women's suffrage movement, there was a demand for pockets. And that demand is still happening right now, this second. So on the other side of the pocket argument, the lack of pockets has created an insane handbag industry that is worth over $47 billion. So the designer Christian Dior in 1954 said that not having pockets is cemented in the patriarchy, and that men have pockets to keep things in, women for decoration. That explains the evolution of the superficial pocket stitching with no actual functionality. So he was speaking about, and thank you, Christian, for mentioning that, the pockets that we have that are the fake pockets, where it's just a little sewn piece of thing. I will never forget. So I was a groomsman in my former best friend's wedding party, and we were taking pictures, and the photographer told us to put our hands in our pockets, and I didn't have, my pocket wasn't real. And she was like yelling at me. And I was like, lady, you know we don't have pockets. I don't have real pockets. So she was trying to like do something. And first of all, she was really irritated for nothing because it wasn't that serious. But like, it was really irritating her that I didn't have a pocket to put my hand in. And I was like, this hasn't irritated me the whole night, right? Shout out to Caesar. 48%, women's pockets are 48% shorter and 6.5% narrower than men's pockets. So there was a survey of female students that was conducted. They found on average 83% of participants owned a purse or handbag, more than 60% carrying their phone, wallet, keys, chapstick, lip products in their handbags, right? 58% of participants wish their pockets had more pocket space, and only 41% of participants owned a dress that had pockets on it. So I just thought this little history of pockets was really interesting, and I didn't know that the conversation for pockets was taking place even back in the suffrage movement, because this is a conversation that we are still having today. You see those pictures of women carrying a whole bunch of stuff in their hands. I am guilty of the hand carry, because I will carry things in my hand because I don't always want a whole bag to have to carry with me. And sometimes it would be nice to like have pockets. And honestly, one of the good things about having a man is that he can put things in his pockets. I miss that. I miss literally, I would hand over my phone and my keys for him to carry, to put in his pocket, because I didn't have pockets. First of all, that's ridiculous that we even have to do all that. You know what I'm saying? But it is the way it is. I am glad that I could share this little history lesson of pockets for you guys. There's a lot of depressing stuff happening in this world, so I hope that everybody takes a day to kind of, try to do some self-care and center themselves. And I, again, wish all of the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day, and we will chat soon.